So today I am going to deliver a lecture on first law of thermodynamics and its application. Myself, Dr. Sanjay Gaudi, Head and Assistant Professor in Department of Physics, Dr. Ambedkar College, Chandrapur. We have seen previously the zeroth law of thermodynamics and the different thermodynamic variables. Okay, so now we will see the first law of thermodynamics and its application. So my presentation includes what is the statement of the first law of thermodynamics. Then I will discuss about the physical significance and or importance of the first law of thermodynamics. Then we will discuss about the limitations of the first law of thermodynamics, applications of the first law of thermodynamics, and lastly I will discuss the derivation of work done during the isothermal process. Okay. So this derivation of the work done during the isothermal process, you have studied it in the 12th class. Okay. So first law of thermodynamics. So what is the statement of the first law of thermodynamics? So when a certain amount of heat is supplied to a system which does the external work in passing from initial state 1 to the final state 2, the amount of heat is equal to the sum of the increase in the internal energy of the system and the external work done. So here, suppose Q is the amount of heat energy supplied to a system. Thermodynamic system is there, and to that thermodynamic system we will supply the amount of heat Q. Then what will happen? Then the system undergoes a change from initial state 1 to the final state 2. Then at that time what will happen? Whatever will be the amount of heat energy supplied to a system, that is utilized in two ways. In increasing the internal energy of the system, and secondly external work is done by the system. So this all amount of heat energy which is supplied is utilized in two ways. First way is the increase in the internal energy of the system, and second way is to do the external work by the system. So if we add these two, then that will give the amount of heat energy supplied to the system. So mathematically the statement of the first law of thermodynamics can be written as Q is equal to U2 minus U1 plus W. So what is the U2? U2 and U1? U1 is the internal energy of the system in the initial state 1, and U2 is the internal energy of the system in the final state 2. So U2 minus U1, that is nothing but increase in the internal energy of the system, plus W. W is the external work done by the system. So whatever be the amount of heat energy supplied to the system, that is utilized is nothing but the sum of the increase in the internal energy plus external work done by the system. Okay, so this is the mathematical statement of the first law of thermodynamics. For small change in the state of the system, the law is expressed in differential form as dq. dq is the small amount of change in the heat energy. It is equal to du. Du is the change in the internal energy plus dw. dw is nothing but change in the work done. Okay, so this is the equation number 1 and this is the equation number 2. Thus, we can conclude that the heat is a form of energy. Heat is a form of energy, and the first law of thermodynamics is the law of conservation of energy. Here, heat energy is converted into the internal energy and work done. Work done is also the energy, and increase in the internal energy is also the energy, and therefore this is the first law of thermodynamics is the law of conservation of energy. It must be remembered that Q or dq is positive when the system absorbs the heat. Q from this equation number 1, it is seen that Q, and from the equation number 2, it is seen that dQ is positive when the system absorbs the heat, and Q or dQ is negative when the system rejects the heat. Then in equation number 2, all quantities dQ, du and dW must be in the same unit, that is either in joule or calorie. So unit of the heat energy is the in joule or calorie. The internal energy is also a thermodynamic variable which depends upon the state of the system. So from this equation, it is seen that the internal energy is also the thermodynamic variable which depend upon the state of the system. Now we will see the significance, physical significance or importance of the first law of thermodynamics. See, sometimes the question may be asked on this, or sometimes the question may be asked on the first statement of the first law of thermodynamics, or the physical significance of the or importance of the first law of thermodynamics can be asked in the examination. So the first law of thermodynamics is based on the law of conservation of energy of the system. Physical significance or importance of the law is as follows. So the first importance of the first law of thermodynamics is that the law establishes the relation between the heat and the work. We have seen that uh, Q is equal to U2 minus U1 plus PdV or W. W is the work done. So therefore, this relation use this first law of thermodynamics establishes the relation between the heat and the work. Heat and work में relation ये first law of thermodynamics बताता है. According to this law, the heat can be produced only by the expenditure of energy. Okay. So the second importance of this first law of thermodynamics is that it introduces the concept of internal energy. We have seen Q is equal to U2 minus U1. U2 minus U1 is nothing but increase in the internal energy. So the first law of thermodynamics introduces the concept of internal energy. Then third importance of the first law of thermodynamics is that it provides the method for determining the change in the internal energy. So this law provides the method for determining the change in the internal energy or increase in the internal energy. Fourth importance of the first law of thermodynamics is that it is applicable to any process by which the system undergoes a physical change or chemical change. Okay. So these are the four importance of the first law of thermodynamics. Then we will see the limitation of the first law of thermodynamics. So the first law of thermodynamics tells us the equivalence between the mechanical work and heat energy. The first law tells us that if the internal energy of the system remains constant, then dW is equal to dQ. So if internal energy of the system remains constant, so change in the internal energy will be zero. And therefore, from the first law of thermodynamics, we can write as dQ is equal to dW. That is nothing but statement of the first law of thermodynamics, mathematical statement of the first law of thermodynamics. And that is, the work can be completely converted into the heat. So, and vice versa. So, heat can be converted into the work done, or work done can be converted into the heat. So, this fact is theoretically and practically true. But it is not possible to convert the heat completely into the mechanical work. Although it is possible in accordance with the first law. First law क्या कहता है? Work can be converted into the heat energy. and heat energy can also be converted into the work done and vice versa. Okay. But here in practice, it is not possible to convert the heat completely into the mechanical work, although it is possible in accordance with the first law. So this is the contradiction to the first law of thermodynamics. So that is the limitation of the first law of thermodynamics. Similarly, if a hot body is kept in contact with a cold body, then the heat flows from hot body to the cold body as per first law. But our common experience says that heat can never flow by itself from cold body to the hot body. So this is why we need this second law of thermodynamics. So this is the first law of thermodynamics. It is the limitation of the first law of thermodynamics that heat can never flow by itself from cold body to the hot body, and therefore this is the limitation of the first law of thermodynamics. So we need the another law which will overcome this limitation. Okay. So this is about the first law of thermodynamics. Then we will study the applications of the first law of thermodynamics. So we will apply the first law of thermodynamics to the different thermodynamic processes. So first thermodynamic process we consider it as a isochoric process. Okay. So if what is the isochoric process? If the system undergoes a change in which the volume remains constant, volume of the thermodynamic system remains constant, then the process is called the isochoric process. So thus in this process, the work done W by the system is 0. Q, so work done will be the 0 because the P into dV, work done is nothing but a P into dV. Pressure multiplied by change in the volume, and as the volume remains constant for this process, so change in the volume will be 0, and therefore dW will be the 0. And from the first law of thermodynamics, therefore we can write dQ is equal to du, and here dW will be the 0, and therefore dQ is equal to du. Thus, in isochoric process, total heat energy absorbed by the system is equal to the increase in its internal energy. So dQ is equal to du. What is dQ? dQ is the total heat energy absorbed by the system, and du is nothing but change in the internal energy, increase in the internal energy of the system. And therefore, in the isochoric process, the total heat energy absorbed by the system is equal to the increase in the internal energy. Then we will see the second application of the first law of thermodynamics to the isobaric process. So what is the isobaric process that we have seen previously? The isobaric process is the process in which the pressure remains constant. So if the system undergoes a change in which the pressure remains constant, then the process is called the isobaric process. Suppose Q is the amount of heat energy. Uh, Suppose Q is the heat absorbed at constant pressure, and suppose its volume increases from initial volume V1 to final volume V2. Then W is equal to work done. W is the work done. Work done is equal to P into V2 minus V1. That is the work done. Pressure multiplied by change in the volume. So from the first law of thermodynamics, we get Q is equal to U2 minus U1 plus W is equal to U2 minus U1 plus P into V2 minus V1. So if we simplify this, then what we get? Q is equal to U2 plus P into V2 minus U1 plus P into V1. So This U2 plus P into V2 is nothing but the H2, and here the second bracket term we will, or the second bracket we will write the H1. So H2 minus H1, where U is the U plus PV is equal to H. U plus PV is equal to H. H is nothing but enthalpy of the system. Thus, the heat absorbed by the system at constant pressure is equal to the increase in the enthalpy. Increase in the enthalpy, H2 minus H1. H2 is the enthalpy in the final state and H1 is the enthalpy in the initial state, and therefore U plus PV is equal to H, that is the enthalpy. Thus, heat absorbed by a system at constant pressure is equal to the increase in the enthalpy of the system. Like the internal energy of the system, the enthalpy is a function of thermodynamic variable. So we have seen the previously pressure, volume, temperature. These are the thermodynamic variable. In addition to that, internal energy is also the thermodynamic variable. Then enthalpy is another thermodynamic variable. So these are the different thermodynamic variables. The function H is also called the heat function. Enthalpy function, enthalpy H is also called the heat function at constant pressure. Then we will study the application of the first law of thermodynamics to the explanation of latent heat. What is meant by the latent heat? So, the amount of heat energy absorbed by a unit mass of a substance in the change of its state, such as from solid to liquid or from liquid to gas at constant temperature is called the latent heat. So what is the latent heat? Latent is the amount of heat energy absorbed by a system, absorbed by a unit mass of a substance in the change of its state at constant temperature. This is called the latent heat. If L is the latent heat, then Q is equal to L. Q is equal to L. Q is the amount of heat energy absorbed and L is the latent heat. But when the substance changes its state from solid to liquid or from liquid to gas at constant pressure, then part of heat energy absorbed by the system is used up in increasing its volume against the external pressure, and rest of the heat energy is used up in increasing its potential energy. Since the temperature remains constant, there is no change in the internal energy of the substance during the change of the state. So for this process, if the temperature remains constant, then there is no change in the internal kinetic energy of the substance during the change of the state. So what will happen? Whatever be the amount of heat energy is absorbed, it is utilized in increasing the potential energy, internal potential energy of the system. Let V1 and V2 be the initial and final volumes of unit mass of a substance during the change of the state at constant pressure, respectively. Then the work done in increase in volume is dW is equal to P into V2 minus V1. So work done is equal to P into V2 minus V1, change P into change in the volume. So first law of thermodynamics, from the first law of thermodynamics, the increase in the internal energy of the substance is du is equal to dq minus dw. So therefore, u2 minus u1 is equal to dq is nothing but L minus P into V2 minus V1, it is nothing but dW. And therefore, L is equal to u2 minus u1 plus P into V2 minus V1. So, latent heat is nothing but the sum of increase in the internal energy and the work done. So L is here L is nothing but latent heat, and that latent heat is nothing but amount of heat energy absorbed to increase the temperature of the system. Unit mass of a substance, temperature of a unit mass of a substance by 1 degree, that is nothing but latent heat. Then we will study the application of the first law of thermodynamics to the isothermal process. So what is the isothermal process? So isothermal process is the process in which temperature remains constant. Iso means same. Thermal means temperature. Same temperature is there in this process. So if the system undergoes a change in which the temperature of the system remains constant, then the process is called the isothermal process. Since the internal energy of a perfect gas depends on its temperature, therefore there is no change in the internal energy of a perfect gas in an isothermal process. So therefore du is equal to 0. Increase in the internal energy is 0. From the first law of thermodynamics, dq is equal to dw. du is equal to 0. Therefore dq is equal to dw. So thus in an isothermal expansion of a perfect gas, the heat absorbed by the gas is equal to the work done by it. Similarly, in isothermal compression, gas is compressed isothermally. Then the heat is rejected by the gas and is equal to the work done on it. Okay, so this is nothing but the application of the first law of thermodynamics to the isothermal process. And what is happening in the isothermal process? dq is equal to dw. Amount of heat energy absorbed is equal to the amount of work done. Or entire heat energy absorbed by the system is converted into the work done according to this first law of thermodynamics. Then we will apply the first law of thermodynamics to the adiabatic process. So adiabatic process is what? So the process in which change in the heat energy, no heat enters the system or no heat leaves the system, and therefore dq is equal to 0 for the adiabatic process. So what is the definition of the adiabatic process? The process in which the system neither absorb the heat or nor reject the heat is called the adiabatic process. No heat enter the system or no heat leaves the system. So that is nothing but adiabatic process. So in this process, dq is equal to 0. Change in the heat energy is 0. And therefore from the first law of thermodynamics, we can write it as 0 is equal to du plus dw, and therefore from this we can write dw is equal to minus times du. So this is the nothing but equation number 1. Thus in an adiabatic expansion, the decrease in the internal energy is equal to the work done by the gas, while in adiabatic compression the increase in the internal energy is equal to the work done on the gas. So that is nothing but the meaning of this dw is equal to minus du. dw is equal to minus du. Then we will apply the first law of thermodynamics to the cyclic process. So what is the cyclic process? The process in which the system return to its original state after undergoing a series of changes is called the cyclic process. So in this cyclic process, U2 minus U1 is equal to 0. Increase in the internal energy is 0. And therefore, from the first law of thermodynamics, Q is equal to W. So thus, in cyclic process, the external work done is by the system is equal to the amount of heat Q supplied to the system. So that is about the various application of the first law of thermodynamics. Then the last application that we are going to study is isolated system. We will apply the first law of thermodynamics to the isolated system. So if the system can neither take any heat from the surrounding nor it can do any work, then the system is called the isolated system. Thus, for any process in an isolated system, dq is equal to 0 and dw is equal to 0. Both dq is equal to 0 and dw is equal to 0. So, from the first law of thermodynamics, dq is equal to du plus dw and du is equal to u2 minus u1 is equal to 0, because dq is 0 and dw is 0. Therefore, du must be equal to 0. And what is du? Du is nothing but u2 minus u1, change in the internal energy. So, it is equal to 0. Thus, internal energy of an isolated system always remains constant. So, all these are about the application of the first law of thermodynamics to the various process. Okay. So, after this, we will study the derivation of the work done during the isothermal process. So, we have to obtain the expression for the work done, and that you have studied in the 12th. Okay. So, what is the isothermal process? The process in which the temperature of the system remains constant is called the isothermal process. So, in isothermal expansion of a gas, the work is done by the gas, and in isothermal compression, the work is done on the gas. Here, in expansion, work is done by the gas on the piston, and in isothermal compression, work is done on the gas by the piston. Okay, so here consider an isothermal. Consider the expansion of a 1 mole of a ideal gas at constant temperature T from volume V1 to volume V2. We have to find the work done by the gas. So if there is an infinitesimal increase in the volume dV at a pressure P, then work done by the gas is dW is equal to PdV. This is nothing but work done. So dW is equal to PdV. That is the equation number 1. So the total work done by the gas in an isothermal expansion from initial volume V1 to final volume V2 at constant temperature is W is equal to integration from V1 to V2 PdV. So we will integrate this equation to obtain the work done, total work done by the gas in isothermal expansion. So W is equal to V1 to V2 PdV, integration from V1 to V2 PdV. So but from ideal gas equation, PV is equal to RT, and therefore P is equal to RT upon V, and we will substitute this value of P in the previous equation. We get dW is equal, W is equal to integration from V1 to V2 RT upon V into dV. So therefore,
W is equal to R.
the constant quantity RT is taken out of this integral. So W is equal to RT into integration from V1 to V2 dV upon V. What is the integration of dV upon V? Integration of dV upon V is nothing but log to the base E of V. So, W is equal to RT as it is into integration of this uh, integration of dV upon V is log to the base E V, and here limit of integration varies from V1 to V2. So we will substitute the upper limit and lower limit. We get W is equal to RT into log to the base E V2 upon V1. And if we remove this logarithm, exponential form of the logarithm to the log to the base 10, then we get W is equal to 2.303 into RT into log to the base 10. We will convert this log to the base E to the log to the base 10, and that conversion is nothing but 2.303 into log to the base 10. Okay, so here PV, since PV is a constant in isothermal process, therefore P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. So this is our equation number 3. Okay, so W is nothing but equation number 3. So PV is the constant in isothermal process, therefore P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2, and from this V2 upon V1, it is equal to P1 upon P2. So this equation number 3, this is the equation number 3. So equation 3 becomes W is equal to 2.303 RT into log to the base 10. Instead of V2 by V1, we will substitute P1 by P2. So P1 by P2 here. So this is the equation number 4. So equation number 3 and equation number 4, these are the expression for the work done in isothermal process. So equation number 3 is the expression in terms of volume V1 and V2. And equation 4 is the expression for the work done in isothermal process in terms of pressure P1 and P2. Okay, so this is about the expression for the work done in isothermal process. So many times this question has been asked in the examination. Okay, and the problem may also be asked on this topic, that if pressure volumes are given at for the isothermal process, then what is the work done? So if V1 and V1 and V2 are given, temperature is constant, which is also given, and from this equation we can obtain the work done in the isothermal process. Or sometimes the pressures are given and temperature is given. From that we can obtain the external work done in the isothermal process. Okay, so that is about my today's presentation. Thank you.
So, sir,
If you have any question, you may ask.